Hello friends. Lot of app developers reached out regarding dreambooth training and image generation API. In this video, I will go through the dreambooth training and image generation API that we recently added in AIPaintr.com. If you are looking to directly generate images using our website, please refer to my previous video. I will first go over all the API that are available and then we'll do a live demo of the API. The API docs can be accessed by visiting AI Paintr website and clicking on API link. This will open up the documentation page. There are two main categories of API. First two API are related to training dreambooth and the next two are related to generating images. The dreambooth model create API starts a dreambooth training job. The request type is multi-part form data, which sends request parameters and uploads an image zip file. Following are the parameters it takes: job name, unique job name to identify this training job. This will not be used in the training process. Class name. A class name is a category name that identifies the object you are training on. Usually it is a common noun for the object of training. If you are training on photos of man, use man as the class name. If you are using an object, use the object category like water bottle, cup, shirt, etc. Next will. Object identifier. A non-dictionary word which will be used to match the object in training images. Example, SKS, TST, etc. Object identifier is a concept that the algorithm learns to associate with the object of the picture during training. Training steps. Number of training steps to run. A good rule of thumb is to have 100 times the number of training images. Example, if you have 30 training images, then you should have 3,000 training steps. Less number of training steps will result in a less accurate model, but will be faster to train. More training steps will result in an overtrained model, which will be slow to train and will not be creative. First 1,000 steps cost $3. Each additional 1,000 steps cost 50 cents. Images. Zip file containing JPEG or PNG images of size 512 by 512 pixel. After the post request is made, the response will return a job ID which can be used to track the progress of dreambooth training job. In case of error, you will get a JSON response with 400 or 500 status code. The dreambooth status API can be used to check the status of the training job. It will return all the training parameters along with the status. If the status value is completed, then it will also have values for model ID and model URL. Model ID can be used to trigger an image generation job, and the model URL can be used to download the model checkpoint file if needed. API to generate images using a trained dreambooth model. Once the job is submitted, a job ID will be returned in the response, which can be used to monitor the job using the Generate Images API. Following are the fields required by the API. Model ID of trained model. Number of images. Number of images to generate. Maximum 100 images can be generated in one API request. Image size. Number of generated images. Default is square, which is 512 by 512 pixel. Other options are portrait, which is 512 by 768 pixel, landscape, which is 768 by 512 pixel. Each square image costs 1 cent and each landscape/portrait image costs 2 cents. Prompt. Prompt to be used to generate images. Prompt should contain an object identifier phrase. For example, a photo of SKS woman. Negative prompt. Words to be avoided in generated images. Example, blur faces, long neck, photography, etc. After submission, an image creation job will start in the background. In case of error, you will get a JSON response with 400 or 500 status codes. API to get the status of a Generate Images job. Request contains the job ID of the triggered job. Response will contain the job parameters passed in the request as well as job status. If the job status is marked completed, then the response will also contain a list of image URL that can be used to download the images. Before we start using the API, we would need to generate an API token. For this, head over to the AI Paintr app. From the top right-hand corner, click on Generate Token link. Generate the token if it is not already there. The generated token will only be visible for the first time. Please copy it and save it locally. You always reset your token to some other value, but remember to use the new token for any subsequent calls, otherwise the API will not work. Now we will test the API quickly using the Insomnia tool. Insomnia is an open source tool like Postman. I will make a dreambooth training job request first, then we'll run a GET request to check the status of the job. Then we'll issue a POST request to generate some images. That's it, friends. Head over to AIPaintr.com to get your API token and start training some dreambooth models.